It's the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
I thought Bradley Beal had some interesting comments about Jayson Tatum after the game. And he said it didn't matter who was in front of him. And that's something I've been trying to tell his ass for years, which right away tells me a lot about Jayson Tatum. Because if Bradley Beal is sitting here saying that's something I've been trying to tell his ass for years, then it shows you that the people in his life are seeing the same things we're seeing. And like some of the times when he fades away and isn't attacking, you know, we've wondered about Tatum. Like, is he aware? Is he aware of what's going on here? Does he understand where he's going, what he's playing like? And I'm looking at what Bradley Beal said and saying, yeah, he's got to be aware. And it shows you how far of a road that Tatum has taken and how far he still has to go. And I've written about this a couple of times now on Boston Sports Journal. Tatum continues to be the story. And as I've talked about a little bit with my job, covering this team this year, it's kind of hard to come up with these storylines, these, you know, what's different, what's happening here. And because we don't get to talk to everybody face to face, we're left with few options. And Jayson Tatum dropping 50 means you got to write a Tatum story after the game. And I've been writing a couple of Tatum stories recently, so here's another one. But Bradley Beal's comments were so interesting to me because it tells you we have been saying, attack. Doesn't matter who's in front of you. Attack. And he says, it's tough when you guard him. He's 6'9", he can get a shot off, he's strong, he can shoot the ball. He's a 3-level scorer, so you have to respect everything that he can do on the floor and just try to make it difficult, be physical with him. I know a lot of his moves. A lot of them I was there, but I'm only 6'3". I wish I was 6'9" with robotic arms, but he's a special talent, man. I've been saying it since he was in diapers. That's Bradley Beal. Now, obviously Bradley Beal is going to gas up his friend, but that's a pretty honest statement. The way he was saying it is a pretty honest statement. And it's true. Bradley Beal, look, he was a step slow, and he didn't have full range. He didn't have full quickness. And to have Bradley Beal covering Jayson Tatum, like I was listening to the Locked On Wizards podcast, and they were saying, like, you cannot have Bradley Beal cover Jayson Tatum. You're asking for trouble. And he wasn't the main guy. I mean, Rui Hachimura was really the guy that was covering Tatum early. But, again, with Hachimura getting into foul trouble, that really let Tatum go because they didn't have any other guys that could step up and handle him. So losing Hachimura was a real big blow because it took length off of Tatum. And with Bradley Beal picking him up from time to time, that was easy money. And for Tatum to say, all right, I got this guy, and attack, it was super important. It continues this trend for Tatum. When there is a shot blocker at the rim, when he's got real interference, it's hard for him. But when there isn't, or when he's got advantageous situations, then he can take advantage of that. And so I thought that he did a great job attacking, but the Beal comments make you really fully understand that Tatum is still developing. And he's 23, and he's dropped 60, and he's 53, and now 50. But he's still figuring himself out. He's still not sure sometimes. It's still, as confident as he is, there are still situations, very clearly from Beal's comments, that Tatum is trying to do things. And my theory, I've said this before, I put this out there a while back, and a bunch of people from St. Louis called me crazy. I still think this is somewhat true, or some version of this is true. Maybe I'm not 100% right, but he was always a skinny kid, big and skinny. And sure, he might be aggressive, and sure he was attacking, and sure he probably dunked on people when he was younger, but he was always that skinny kid, and now he's not that skinny kid anymore. But he still plays like a skinny kid. He plays like a guy who wants to avoid contact, or he has played like a guy who wants to avoid contact. Now, he's gotten away from that a lot, but he still when there's a lot of contact to be had, he has generally, more often than not, shied away from that. He's much better at it now. And I've said that now knowing his body, now knowing his strength, now knowing who he can be and growing into that confidence, being bigger, stronger, knowing that, hey, I can rip through and I'm going to get fouled and I can still get that ball up towards the basket like James Harden does. Like the post move that he's used from time to time where he rips and gets underneath the defender's arms and goes up and gets the foul, that's a relatively recent development. He's figuring these things out. So our criticisms of Jayson Tatum have been legit, but at the same time, he's still developing. And I thought, I just, it's one of those things that really just stuck out to me. That his comments were, when you hear Bradley Beal say it, when you hear his buddy from St. Louis say it, there's something there. The last thing I want to say is this is such a weird historical nugget because this game was not a regular season game. Regular season is over. This game was not a playoff game. Playoffs haven't begun yet. The play-in tournament sets the seeding. So Jayson Tatum's 50 points is what? It's not his playoff high. His playoff high is 34. He hasn't started the playoffs yet, technically speaking. I was talking about this, put it out there online. And, Matt Moore at HP Basketball, and Matt hosts Locked On Nuggets. He said, you got to create basically a postseason category. So there's going to be postseason numbers, but also playoff numbers. And it's going to be like a weird semantic delineation of this is a postseason game, which is true. It's postseason. The regular season's over. So this is after the season. But it's not a playoff game. So there's going to be a postseason category where Tatum's postseason high is 50, but his playoff high is 34, which is weird, but in a lot of ways, it kind of makes sense for this season because this whole season is weird, and why not have one more weird thing?